So I've been scrolling online lately and I've seen it, and I'm sure you have. It's people telling you that your home isn't weird enough. But what are you supposed to take from that? Hearing it can leave you thinking like, do I need to have like a black toilet and an all black bathroom to make my home stylish? I mean, is it really about being weird or is it about something a little bit deeper? Well, stay tuned because we're going to talk about what this actually means and if you should do anything about it in your space. Sometimes we all just. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Or if you're new here, welcome. I'm Chauncey, lead creative at SFL Interiors and Redesign. And one of our core beliefs is that everyone deserves a beautiful space that reflects who they are. Today, I wanted to talk to you about a topic in design, and I'm sure you've seen it floating around. Why have our homes lost all interest? When designers say your home needs to be more weird, they're really just saying your space lacks personality because you're probably playing it too safe. In reality, all beautiful homes are designed to be rich with personality. And that's not something you can copy from a catalog. If you want to bring your personality to life in your home, you really have to let your authentic interests guide your space. I want to walk through a few things that can help you do that, and why we fall into the safe design in the first place. Okay, so let's talk about it. Why are we all so scared to make bold design choices in our space? If your house feels like it could belong to absolutely anyone, that's great for staging it if you're about to sell it, but it's really not great for making it feel like a home. And let's be clear, if that's what you've been doing, it's not because you have bad taste, it's because you're decorating and designing and you're afraid to get it wrong. I mean, we've all seen the standard formula: beige sofa, 3 candles, coffee table, organic rug, oversized neutral abstract art. No wonder why everybody is afraid to deviate from that. Social media bombards us with aesthetics every single day, and it feeds this fear of getting it wrong. It's that anxiety that if you paint a wall a moody color or buy a sofa that no one would approve of, or even go the opposite direction of your algorithm, you'll regret it or hurt your home's value. But here's the thing, why are you decorating to appease people who never see your home or for that hypothetical future buyer in the first place? If you aren't looking to sell your home in the near future, the next 3, 6, maybe 9 months, let's give ourselves the permission to start making some bold choices. Instead of buying a safe, neutral piece like that rug or sofa that you've been eyeing, and then try to overcompensate with a bunch of loud, chaotic decor, let's pause and put the personality back into your home. Maybe buy a rich velvet sofa instead of that standard cream boucle. No judgment if you do. When you lean into colors, textures, patterns you genuinely love, your space feels intentional and more curated. And that has a higher return on value for your peace of mind versus that future, maybe potential, doesn't exist buyer. Plus, you can reupholster a sofa or a chair or buy a new rug. Actually, you might have to if you find that perfect, weird piece that completes your home. Let me give you an example. Because look, we've all been there. We've all been caught up in being afraid to make the wrong choice in our home. I was furnishing my own living room and had this beautiful pair of velvet cream chairs already picked out. You can angle them so they're a little tete-a-tete moment, and I just fell in love with them. They were 100% going into the room. And I love them so much, and I did exactly what I just told you not to do. As I was looking for a sofa to pair with them, I was like, well, look, let me just choose a safe, neutral sofa to pair them with, and I don't have to worry about any problems down the road. And I picked out one. It was a beige mixed linen, performance fabric, and I was like, this works. I could just design around it. But I didn't really love it. I ordered it, and then I waited and waited And then I waited some more. And after the weeks turned into months, I was like, I'm just not gonna keep waiting for this. I had to be honest with myself. It was a lovely sofa. Actually, I think it would look nice in most homes, but I wasn't excited about the sofa enough to keep waiting for it. So I canceled the order and I literally went in the opposite direction. It ended up with a mink brown velvet sofa instead. And I did what we all do. At first I was like, was that the wrong choice? Am I gonna have to buy another sofa and cancel this one? Because I was now pairing two velvets together, which wasn't my original plan. And I didn't want the space to feel flat or for the pieces to compete. But that mink brown isn't flat at all. Once I got it in the home, what became clear was depending on the light coming into the room, it actually reads subtle gray undertones, and it really grounds the whole space between the chairs, the wallpaper, the tables, and it looks absolutely incredible. So what was my lesson? The safe choice wasn't actually the right choice for me at all. The right choice was the one I was scared of making. And I'm glad I did, because I really do love that sofa. So before you default to that safe neutral, I want you to pause and ask yourself, am I genuinely excited about this piece? Does it represent who I am and what I like? Or am I just avoiding a decision? If you find yourself waiting on something and you're not even excited about it, that's usually a sign you need to pivot. Here's another thing I want you to think about. What if you turned your home into a museum of you? Your home is always telling a story, whether it's telling it about you or someone else. I want you to look around. What piece is speaking the loudest in your space? Where you've been, how you grew up, what you love, or do they have to ask you all those questions? And I'm not just talking about buying books or art because of the colors that match your rug. Like, really lean into this concept. Use your hobbies, your passions, your interests as actual decor. If you love playing guitar, don't put it away in your closet. Put it on the wall. I personally have 3 guitars. Don't ask me to play them, but I love the guitar. So I hung it on the wall. If you love to cook or your grandmother gave you her recipes, put them out on display. It doesn't matter if you feel like they might clash with what's in vogue. I actually chose my powder room to tell the loudest story in the house. I mean, we're talking neon, black, leopard print. Yes, you heard me correctly. I knew exactly what I wanted to communicate in that space, and I didn't even hesitate to say it out loud. It's a room you see every day, and I felt free to take a chance. It's a smaller space, so that made it easier to take that chance, but I don't regret it for a second. When I told people that idea, I think they were all a little taken aback, but it really does make me smile every time I go in there. And actually, other people like it too. And let me be clear with you. I didn't go bold in the space just to go bold. Those are things I genuinely like, and everyone who walks in there knows. I love a good pop of neon, and I'm a little obsessed with big cats, and black works literally in any space. And to be honest with you, 2 of those points show up throughout the home. Now, a lot of people worry that displaying their interests would just look like clutter, but clutter is really just a lack of intention. Now, with my powder room example, my interests just happened to all be incorporated into a wallpaper print, but I could have easily communicated the same in a bookcase display or the books I put out on my coffee table. I mean, a pile of mismatched random coffee mugs on the counter, now that is clutter, but an open shelf intentionally dedicated to your favorite mismatched mugs you've collected throughout the years, that's curation. And it invites your guests to ask about it. And then it tells the story of you. Let your interests be the focal point, not the sheer number of things you own. I want you to do me a favor. Walk through your home today, like today, and ask yourself whether it's the whole house or one room. And be honest. Ask yourself what's here because it's truly me and what's just filler. Because honestly, if none of it represents you, it's probably time to tell a different story. So you want to make your space weird, which just means you want to bring more personality to it. But you're not really for certain where to start. Here's the thing, it might actually be easier than you think. And here's why. Your house actually needs a little tension. everything shouldn't match. If everything in a room agrees with everything and it matches perfectly with everything else, that can read as flat, and that's exactly what you want to avoid. What you actually want to do is create visual tension. There might be one element in a room that technically should not work, but it just does. That's how you know you've created your space to fit who you are. It really means intentionally interrupting things, whether you're interrupting a color in the room, a pattern, or even a shape. Like, for example, if your sofa is a box and you have a rectangular rug, don't look for the rectangular coffee table. Instead, add something that's a little more rounded, a little curved, or maybe just stack 2 or 3 coffee tables at differing heights next to each other. That break in the pattern of the space immediately creates interest. I actually have a low-cost example of this in that very same room I was talking about earlier. So in between that mink brown sofa and those cream chairs, I put a pair of coffee tables that I found at a thrift store, and they're my favorite find in recent years. They started out 80s orange oak, but they had these beautiful curves around the ends and these very symmetrical legs. So in themselves, they have tension. And I knew it was the piece that would add that tension to that furniture grouping. Not to mention they're inset with mirrored glass tops that are in 2 columns. And because of their age, they've already patinaed to this like gorgeous copper, which matched perfectly with a copper colored mirror I was already putting into the room. It literally felt serendipitous. And the only question I really had to decide on was what to paint them. They were not going in orange oak. Well, because I already had a mink brown sofa and a black secretary in the room, if I painted them black, I knew it would be too heavy and it would really make the room feel out of balance. And if I went beige, they'd really just blend in because of the chairs and get lost in the other direction. So I actually painted them a textured white. Now on paper, this really doesn't sound like it makes sense with the rest of the furniture. And that's why it worked. It's the piece that technically shouldn't fit, but it instantly became the focal point. Like my house, I actually call it the house of shapes. And that's because with it being a newer build, it's dangerously close to becoming boxy and boring. I mean, there are right angles everywhere and it is not symmetrical and it drives me crazy. So I knew I had to introduce more curves and shapes to elevate the space and keep it interesting. I'm talking an angled island, curved furniture, unexpected shape decor. All of this created tension by mixing old and new, soft with structured. So I really could pair a heavy, solid wood secretary next to a modern chair. It's this friction that stopped the room from feeling like a copy and paste furniture showroom in a new build to a curated space that felt elevated. Now, everything I said might make you cringe. And you might be like, that's actually weird. And if you're not quite ready to go all in on weird, I mean, don't worry. You don't need to create a fun house in your home. You just need a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And you can add major personality through really small, unexpected details. Just think how you could add a dramatic door frame, or even swap out your handles on your bathroom doors. Just something unexpected. Little surprises that someone only notices if they're really paying attention to your space. Those are the most fun, effortless ways to add personality to your home. And if you want an even lower lift version of this, start out with a thrifted small piece of art and put it next to a light switch plate. You want things that have aged and that speak to your journey in life. I love the black secretary, and it's actually inherited from my parents who originally picked it up years ago in Amish country. And while I love the piece, when they gave it to me, the size was perfect, but the color wasn't. It was painted like a brick red. I closed my eyes and I immediately could picture it in a rich black paint with a slight sheen to it and soft champagne metal inserts in the doors. I knew this would allow me to hide potential clutter, but more importantly, I could add some ambient light inside for the nighttime. And that's exactly what I did. And it really is a standout piece. Actually, anytime my parents come visit, they say how much they love what I did with it. So now you know. When you hear your home isn't weird enough, what that really means is it's time to stop hiding who you are, stop playing it safe, and lean into your actual interests and personality. And it means embrace tension in your space. Break up at least one design rule somewhere in your home. It adds that spark of interest immediately. Let your home be a reflection of you and tell your story. At the end of the day, this online chatter was never really about being weird. It's just about being authentic. The word weird was just a wake-up call. So drop down in the comments below and tell us, does your space tell your story? If it does, what is your home saying about you? And if the answer is no, it might be time to get a little weird. Looking for some inspiration on how to add some character back to your space? Check out our video on how reflecting on how your home supports you really should guide your design eye. It's linked in the description box below. And don't forget to sign up for our blog for more tips and inspiration, or browse our free resources anytime. And you can head to our website at any time to find out how we can help you with any of your design dilemmas. Until next time, bye.